Welcome to today's Farm Life. I'm Doug Cunningham. Today we're going to take a deep dive into the logistics behind growing hemp in South Dakota. Although producers have been able to grow hemp in South Dakota legally for the last 3 years, there were still some legal loopholes and details that needed to be worked out. The state legislature recently passed House Bill 1228, and it was signed into law by Governor Kristi Noem, which, according to South Dakota Hemp Association Vice President Dohmann, clears the way for the growing season this year.
You start on Department of Ag's website, and you'll click on hemp. It'll be in a drop-down menu, and then on the right side of your screen, once you're under the hemp department, the first few PDF documents, there'll be guidelines on how to fill out your application, and then also what to do with the fingerprinting process. Mm-hmm. And then below that, on the same right side of the screen, there'll be a downloadable PDF that's your actual application. And essentially all you do is you print that out, fill it out by hand, and then mail it back to the Department of Ag. And then once they get that and everything looks good on that initial app, the Department of Ag will send out your fingerprint cards for state and federal background check. Mm-hmm. And essentially all you do is just take them into your courthouse, and sheriff will roll your fingers and you send them off to send them back to Peer, and they take care of it from there. So it's pretty easy. Now,
is that an intimidating process, or is that one of the things that you think might keep people from doing this, or not?
I don't think so. I don't know. In South Dakota, I feel like quite a few of us are gun owners, Doug, and yeah. I've done a background check probably 2 to 3 times in the last couple months purchasing guns, but I didn't really see it as a scary process or anything. I mean, if somebody's never done it before, maybe, but usually your local courthouse, they're pretty good folks, and kind of make a joke out of it and laugh a little bit too at the same time. So, okay. But easy process to get done though.
But it is part of the process to get this all taken care of, correct?
Correct. Yes, you have to have your fingerprints done in order to get to receive your license. That's essentially the last piece of the puzzle. Once those are approved, and then you're good to go.
But now let's talk about size and commitment and things. Now, if producers want to get into this, are we talking half an acre? Are we talking 50? Are we talking 100? What is the commitment for hemp if you want to give it a shot?
A decent amount of acres to start out. I would say, depending on farm, 40 to 80, maybe up to 120 or 140. It kind of depends on the size of the farm, of course. Mm-hmm. But basically, plant something that's worth your time, and you're going to get a good feel for it. I don't know that going out and planting 5 acres of grain and fiber variety is really going to give a good feel as to how it's going to fit into your application and rotation. Mm-hmm. But as far as market goes, our company is contracting back all of the grain this year from acres planted. So, you'll have a home for it. You don't have to worry about sitting on it and wondering what to do. That's honestly, right now in the U.S., that's the number one question everyone has is, where do I take this stuff? Well, we have that question answered. They can bring it right back to us.
How about cost-wise? Comparatively, beans, corn, some of the major crops in the state. Cost-wise, is it going to be different equipment, more cost for the seed? Kind of lay that all
Sure.
out. How does that
Sure.
work?
So significantly different in cost. To seed an acre of hemp for grain and fiber, you are looking at about $70 an acre. Mm-hmm. For fertility, an additional $30 to $40. Let's just call it $100 even with fertility added on. Mm-hmm. As far as special equipment, Doug, ideally if you have a drill, that'll work best because of the row spacing. You can use regular old corn planter as well. That'll work just fine. Mm-hmm. As far as that, after you plant this stuff, you're only going about a ½ inch into the ground, so not very deep. But after that, you essentially just kick back and watch the stuff grow. Wow. And it really is quite fun to watch it grow. You might have it pop up 6 to 8 inches in 1 week. So, it really does. Once it starts going, it goes. And our plants last year, on average, I would say were about 10 foot tall.
Wow.
As far as harvesting goes, there's no special equipment needed. You can run out there with your bean header or a draper header. Any application like that'll work perfect. The last couple years, last year we used a newer John Deere combine with a 40-foot draper, and the year before we used I think it was a 1993 Case IH combine with a auger head on it, and that worked just fine too. So it's nice that folks won't have to go out and spend additional money to at least get this stuff off the field.
If I were to ask you what kind of return, I mean, comparatively, corn, beans,
Yep.
we know those returns. Give me kind of a breakdown of what you're going to get out of these fields if you plant, let's say, 40 acres.
Sure. So I've been telling folks this year they can expect an average return of about 1,000 pounds an acre for grain. And right now the grain market is paying 55 cents a pound.
Okay.
So approximately $550 an acre, less your inputs. So you're looking roughly 400 to 450.
Mm-hmm.
Also on the fiber side of things, if you were to go out and swath down the leftover stalks and bale those up into round bales or large squares, that market is about 6 to 8 cents per pound. And last year on our fields, just to give people an example, we averaged 2.5 tons an acre of that material.
Wow.
So, that'll give you another $200-300 to play around with. So, I mean, you're knocking on the door of, $700 to $800 all in. So, we need people to jump in on this and, kind of get passionate about it like we are, and get this thing going, because I really think it's going to be a very viable rotational crop here moving ahead for us.
That is Derek Dohmann, the co-owner of Horizon Hemp Seeds in South Dakota and vice president of the South Dakota Hemp Association. For more information, you can visit the South Dakota Department of Agriculture's website. You can find a link to their page up on our webpage at todaysfarmlife.com. Remember, feel good about what you do today, because what you do today is very, very important. Until next time, I'm Doug Cunningham.